That's
I don't,
city.
I'm not opposed to opening it up to all three, ag, industrial, and commercial. But
Then
we
we
can
have to go
certainly
through
leave
the
it in.
map and redistrict and cut off areas and, yeah.
It's a long time to hold my hand up here.
Okay,
The whole
So-
county to be agricultural.
so I guess I would go with the agricultural.
Let's just sign the permit and be done with it.
Question. So, if we go to page 13, it says that this section on 5.1.3.17 says that this section is approved, the board cannot approve Quicker proposed amendments in 10.1.2.3.
Yes, which we haven't got to 10.1.
Right, but I was just gonna say, did we need to deal with stuff? Since there might be two conflicting ones, did we need to vote?
That I got a note for when we get to that, but yeah, you have to address one or the other.
Okay, so where are we at here, 10?
Definition. So it's adding in a definition.
For purpose of this WEF ordinance, a wind energy facility is a set of devices whose primary purpose is to produce electricity by means of any combination of collecting, transferring, or converting wind generated energy. A wind energy facility generally includes one or more turbines and other associated facilities, including but not limited to electrical collection lines, communication lines, access roads, meteorological towers, aircraft detection lighting systems and related equipment, operations and maintenance facilities, substation facilities to enable interconnection to the electric grid, including but not limited to a transmission line and other associated facilities. So we're adding this.
The definition.
Adding a definition of what
Okay, gotcha.
a wind energy facility is.
And then the requirements of this, same thing, WEF ordinance shall apply to all wind energy facilities with one or more wind turbines rated at 100 kilowatts nameplate capacity for larger constructed after the effective date of this ordinance. Well, after, where are we at?
Then it can continue to the next page, we might want to take both of these together. Page 9.
Sentence just kind of drops off.
On my side.
On the bottom of page 8, I just got.
Oh, it's just like, okay, so this is just rewritten right here. Stu, you just see that? It's just the
Oh, I'm
whole
sorry,
thing.
okay. Gotcha. Yep. Well, this shouldn't even be on this page.
Right,
Yeah.
it should be this,
Okay, but, so.
So if we want to remove that, we want to remove 10.1.2.4 from page 8.
And we'll just discuss what's there about.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're stopping now, including this.
Yes.
Yeah, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve 10.1.1 and 10.1.2.1.2.3, which goes up to the definition as we've discussed. However, with state's attorney review, incorporating those, accepting there was the suggestion of multiple zonings, and we're going to keep with only agricultural zoning in 10.1.2.1 for discussion.
Okay, we have that motion. You guys all have a motion. Is there a second? I'll second. Any discussion on these?
Discussion. So, with the change on 10.1.2.1, zoning, wind energy facilities may be constructed within the agricultural zoning district of the county, subject to the restrictions and conditions of this WEF ordinance. Does that language put them in the permitted category, or the special or conditional category? Where does that fit into that zoning district? Under what, like, section in there?
That is further in the next section. Under 10.1.2.4 really kind of describes that.
I guess what I'm just trying to figure out, is it gonna be listed as permanent or conditional, but you're saying we have to vote on this motion and then find out when we
Yes,
go through the next
essentially,
stage?
yeah.
What if you just continue and start
You want-
wind?
Do all of them.
Yeah, cause
Otherwise, it's very good.
here's my
Yeah,
take.
so I
I
agree.
mean, I think we're just gonna vote on something that would.
And then we're gonna be having conflicting actions of the board, and here's what my concern is. It's well spelled out in zoning what is permitted uses in every type of zoning district. And it's well spelled out in zoning what is conditionally permitted uses in every type of zoning district. And to me, so the precursor for what we're doing here today was like the Met Towers. I mean, that was like early stages. Well, if those were conditionally permitted uses, I would think that, I mean, I'm gonna disagree with probably most of the people in here, but with what I've read on other zoning, like, I still kind of see value in having it as a conditionally permitted use. So I just wanted to find out where it's gonna fit in there.
Yeah, no, I think we should continue with the second page and
Okay,
all of them.
so do we have to do anything with that motion in seconds, or there's no action, so there's?
There's no action.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're on 10.1.2.4. Correct?
Yes.
Requirements of this WEF ordinance shall apply to all wind energy facilities with one or more wind turbines rated at 100 kilowatts nameplate capacity or larger constructed after the effective date of the ordinance. No operations of existing wind energy facility shall be allowed without full compliance with this ordinance, and striking the word "its" and putting a wind energy facility siting permit. No modification or alteration of an existing wind energy facility shall be allowed without issuance of a new wind energy facility siting permit pursuant to 10.1.3. So basically, now this is being added: for avoidance of doubt, a siting permit pursuant to this ordinance is the only zoning permit required for the wind energy facility, and the conditional use permit and variance provisions of section 8.2 and 8.3 do not apply. Actually,
So that's where we wanna have a discussion on what Levi's saying. So he proposed a change later on page 13, to list specifically under agricultural conditional use permits, a wind energy conversion facility. So the language in here and the language that he proposed on page 13 conflict with each other, so you can't have both approved. You have to decide whether the intent, as Molly was saying, it looks like the intent of our zoning ordinances when they were created was to have wind energy facilities be a standalone provision and not require a conditional use permit. But there's just some ambiguities in there that make us question that right now. So you have to decide whether you want it to be just under a siting permit or whether you want them to also get a conditional use permit on top of it.
And if I'm,
go ahead.
okay, and if I may, so on December 26th, that was an amendment that Flickertail proposed. And I mean, it was just one of those things that it never made it to us, so I made the motion on my own. I didn't have their language in front of me, but I made that motion at our December 29th meeting to add it as a conditionally permitted use. And I think they sent out that proposed amendment to the county and also the township. So, I mean, I see value, like I said, there's gonna be people that disagree with me. I see value with it as a conditionally permitted use, because under the conditional permitted uses, there's some protections in there that I think we're gonna be giving up.
But do you think they're different from the siting permit, side of it?
Well, so if I go in here, so it says, anytime, I'm always leery when somebody says, well, I wanna add something. But then it's always, what makes you question it more is when they wanna get away with it, I wanna do away with something, or it does not apply. So if I go into 8.2.6, and what they had said earlier is, if it's 8.2 if 8.2 doesn't apply, 8.2.1 doesn't apply, like everything after that. So if I'm in, under 8.2.6, it says standards. No application for conditional use shall be recommended for approval unless the zoning commission finds that all of the following conditions are present. That the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use will not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare of the community. 8.2.6.2, that the uses, values, and enjoyment of other property in the neighborhood for purposes already permitted shall be in no foreseeable manner substantially impaired or diminished by the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use. 8.2.6.3, that the establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted within the district. And then there's some others, 8.2.6.4, that adequate utilities, access roads, drainages, and other necessary site improvements have been or are being provided. 8.2.6.5, that the adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. And, I mean, it keeps, there's one more. 8.2.6.6, that the conditional use shall substantially conform to all applicable regulations of the district in which it is located. So, I mean, we have regulations in the agricultural district already. We're saying that, or other districts. And if we're saying these things can be put in these districts, why do we preempt them from these, or the, what everybody else has to go by type of deal? I
Do you
really
have any
think,
clarification?
I have a suggestion that I think might address your concern. So what if we change it, because the intent isn't, we're not concerned about those provisions, but if we try to put it under conditional use, we have to then deal with all of the, like, 8.10.1.3 and everything. What if we said, added to the end of that, it doesn't apply to sections, provisions of sections 8.2 and 8.3 do not apply except for the standards in 8.2.6.1 through 8.2.6.6, and then the same standards in the variance section. So basically, we're applying the standards no matter what. Would that address your concern?
I think it was.
Okay.
I mean, and
Open.
I just, there's some protections in there. And,
Agreed.
and so, there's two sides to this property rights debate point. And I've heard the use and enjoyment of my personal private property can't affect the use and enjoyment of the value of somebody else's personal private property. I mean, there's this balance, and I think some people will read that 8.2 is out, and they'll read those things, and they'll be like, I'm getting stripped of some of my property rights.
You're adding it basically in conditional use and special.
But
No,
I'm
just
open to what
except
you
for the
just said.
standards, except for the standards, so the standards will apply.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
And she worded it much better than I'm gonna repeat, so.
I'll give you the language, I'm just trying to make sure I get the correct provisions here.
Okay, Ashley.
Yeah. So accept the standards in 8.2.6.1 through 0.6, and then we need the ones under 8.3.
It's 8.6.5.
Okay.
So that one's all sort of that same.
Yeah, we still have a motion and a second.
So there's one more for wind on the next one, but it's
We have not.
as long as we're on the same page.
But remember, it has nothing to do with PRC.
It's 10.1.3.
Point one.
No work except for wind monitoring, soil testing, and other survey work may commence to construct a wind energy facility until a county wind energy facility siting permit has been issued by the county commission. Prospective permittees shall submit an application for said permit to the county zoning commission. The application shall be signed by an authorized representative of the prospective permittee, including, and then we're going over here, a fee of $1,000 plus $250 for each proposed wind turbine, up to a total amount of no more than $10,000. Now, should I read you want to strike this next part?
I want to strike the next language. There was a proposal that additionally the application would pay the county's reasonable documented costs of processing the permit, including limited, but not limited to attorney's fees, notice publication fees, and notice mailing fees. And I think if we're already requiring $10,000, my suggestion would be not to include that. So there's going to be no attorney's fees because I'm the attorney for the county, so we won't have that. The publication fee is usually $10 to $15, so to then nickel and dime someone who's already filled out this application to say, okay, now $15 for that. And then, the cost of processing the application, we haven't included that as a fee anywhere else, that we're requiring someone to pay they proposed that language, and